Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. Today we had a smackdown day, those like smacking a volleyball down, spike down day. But let's see what kind of damage, if there was any damage, what the momentum's doing today. Are these things bouncing off their bottoms and coming back up? Or are we getting smacked down and closing really low where we could see continued selling pressure? Well, let's take a look. Maybe we got a little bit of both. This is uranium. It's the daily technical analysis update, and I'm going to go over physical uranium price, ETFs, and then the standard companies, all those individual companies. Again, this is a financial education channel. I'm going to be drawing some of these chart patterns out so you guys can see what I see and how I draw it. And then this is not supposed to be for financial advice. So it's not financial advice. It's just my financial opinion. So let's jump in. I'll show you what I've got. And let's see what uranium's telling us. So the first thing off is the physical price of uranium is going vertical. We've got lots of buying pressure. Price has been moving higher. And it's been looking fantastic from a physical uranium price. Sometimes that doesn't always translate into the stocks. Sometimes the stocks take off a lot in the beginning. They get tired and they want to pull back. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a pullback. We're seeing the overall market today sell off. So we have this big wick at the bottom. Momentum was coming back up. We had an overall market sell off, which brought us down, but buyers are still picking this off. That's why we have this candlestick with a body that is open. So it came lower and ended a little bit higher. Does this mean it's going to turn and move higher? I can't tell you that. I can just tell you that the momentum is coming up a little bit. We do have support down here, and sometimes they like to back test. So it's possible if we get further selling in the overall markets that this could go down a little bit more. But overall, it doesn't look, I'm neutral. I'm neutral on it. If you're trying to get in and buy some of this stuff, I would go and be what's called a sprinkle master. A sprinkle master means that you dollar cost average in and you slowly accumulate your shares when it's down. Down could be now, down could be a next day or 2 days or 3 days. When the volatility and the volumes kick up like this, we're going to see a lot of volatility with the volumes so high like this. So we have a lot of emotional people that are trading, and price is going to get flung all around. And what I like to do is I become a sprinkle master. And if you're trying to play this game, just sprinkle money in really slow. Dollar cost average in. And don't try to be a hero here. Don't try to time the market and get handed something. Now, this is what it looks like kind of on a long-term weekly view for URNM. You draw the line in here. We kind of came up and hit that resistance level and bounced back. We could be forming like a U shape, almost like a cup handle pattern. We almost have that as is. And we'll see if we can break through here. We'll see. And we'll monitor it. Together we'll monitor it. Now this one's got the same type of scenario here, and I'll throw it in just to show you what URNM. But if you kind of throw this here, you can kind of see, throw it just a little bit lower there. You can see that we came up and kissed this line and came back down. There's your kiss. And we came on down. The momentum is coming down a little bit. And we'll see what tomorrow brings us. Here's NextGen. NextGen finished kind of strong here to the downside. We're definitely coming off. The relative strength indicator's coming below 50. It's kind of cooling down. So we got this big move up and then this big sell-off. Again, we came a little bit below its highs, so it's not really a back test. We're kind of coming below it. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. This one's looking a lot stronger because that prom, little wick at the bottom, usually comes down, ends up, momentum's coming back up. Does this mean it's coming up? I don't know, because the overall market, it's going to depend a lot on the overall market and what all the funds are doing. So again, I'd be a sprinkle master and just slowly sprinkle in. Fission, again, nice 17% down day. Lots of volatility here. I'd say 55 cents is kind of where that ultra support line is. So it could pull back quite a bit if the sellers step in here and sell. Sky Harbor coming back to kind of its close to where its highs are. So I think this one looks pretty, almost like a back test retest is kind of complete. Fission 3.0, it finished strong to the downside. This could have continued downside selling. We have a lot of support in the 10, 11 cent area in here. The tops all through here. So we could come down a little bit further. Pure Point Uranium, again, another large down day. It came down and finished up a little bit. Momentum's coming up. I'd wait, guys. There's a lot of volatility here. Wait for this volatility to maybe slow down a little bit, or at least give us a pattern like where the candlestick's on the bottom, a reversal candlestick pattern. Canalaska, again, a nice big sell-off here. It's got a pretty big body. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think the momentum could continue lower. Standard Uranium, this is our bearish engulfing pattern. We did punch lower. We'll see what happens tomorrow. These are kind of hard to read. Momentum's kind of just neutral right here. It opened and closed the same price as it did today. So not much to say there. Base load came down. It opened here and closed here, and it wanted to move on higher. So the momentum is coming up a little bit. There's a lot of support in this region, in the 60 cent region, and underneath it. UEX this one sold off pretty good and ended pretty strong downward. So we could see further downside. Momentum's to the downside here. Asian Court, big sell-off. Momentum still to the downside. Sometimes they break through these things and then back test and then move up. Forum Energy Metals, again, just sold off pretty good. Momentum's to the downside. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Huge volume. Paladin Energy, a little bit of a wick on the bottom, so the momentum is coming up a little bit. With the momentum coming to the downside, and if the overall market sells off, I'd be just cautious here, guys. Cautious. I'm holding. I'm not really doing much of anything. Deep Yellow, again, another big down sell-off day. We have lots of support in this 75 cent range just below it. So we'll see what this thing does. It does have a little wick at the bottom where the momentum came down and came back up a little bit. So it's got a little bit of momentum coming up. It's still a big down day. When I see this, I don't really do much with this momentum coming down like this. I kind of just relax. Bannerman's got a lot of momentum coming down too. Supports at the 16 cent level. Below it. Forces Metal sold off hard. This one's got support kind of where it's at. So good support underneath it. That one doesn't look too bad. Global Atomic, nice big sell-off. Some good momentum to the downside. We are coming into some support just underneath it. Big volume there too. Goviax, nice big sell-off. Support down at the 26 to 28 cent level down here. So we could come down a little bit further and come down in this range. Peninsula, a little bit of a wick at the bottom. Sometimes these like to turn and move on up with these wicks. But yeah, big sell-off today. A little bit of support. A little bit of support underneath it. Boss Energy, I know this is a favorite. Good sell-off, good momentum coming to the downside. We'll see if it continues tomorrow. Support, I would say, is kind of in this 16, 17, 18 cent range down here. Laramide, again, a nice big sell-off going on today. Support's down there at 45 cents is where I would say really good support's at. A little bit at 50, somewhere in this range. So it could come on down a little bit further. UEC, there's your bearish engulfing pattern, came down. Momentum coming back up, but today it sold off. It gapped down. So there's good support down here. Denison Mines, again, the sell-off, it's really, they're all kind of just selling off today. We're seeing it over and over and over. Another big sell-off reversal. It has not reversed to move up yet. We're still waiting for it. URG, it looks very similar, the same. There is support underneath here. We'll see what the candlesticks look like. This one sold off. Good, strong sell-off lower. Momentum is to the downside. It could continue a little bit more. UROY, support underneath here, 375-ish. Maybe a little bit lower downside. We'll see what tomorrow brings us. Centris, selling off. Support's down here in the $28 range or so. And that's what we have for today. We just had a sell-off today. I mean, that's overall market could be pulling back. The overall market can drag these things lower. What happens is everyone's so leveraged up in the market. They're using margin. They're going to get margin calls if this thing starts to sell off some more. So we could see our commodities and everything else get pulled down with the overall markets in a sell-off. Do I think we're going to have some massive crash? Probably not. I don't think so. I mean, it may be a quick kind of beginning sell-off and then slow down a little bit. But you know what? No one has a crystal ball here. I don't exactly know. I think it will drag us down a little bit, but I also think that it's going to be an opportunity to buy. I don't think it's going to stay down here for forever. I think it'll come down. It'll give everybody opportunities to buy, and then I think the commodity market and the overall market will separate at some point. When that point is, I can't tell you. But it's going to take a little bit of time. You got to flush out some of this margin stuff. And once that's flushed out, then I think we're GTG, good to go. If you guys like this content, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.